Hey, we've got rookies, sleepers, and breakouts. Bradley, good to see you. Got Coach and Bradley here. Let's just jump right into it. Daniel Jeremiah has his mock, a 3.0, and we're just getting fluid information and some interesting parts of this draft that I'd like to cover with you, Bradley. Now, we will just gloss over because we've talked about it ad nauseum. You've heard it on other podcasts. Fernando Mendoza, Raiders. We already know the imprint and the impact on that. Likely the 102 in all formats. Sans 1 QB. And then, of course, Jeremiyah Love goes 4 to the Titans. There are a couple different spots where he lands, but it seems to be crystallizing with the movement that the Cardinals made with Tyler Algier, maybe some signal that Jeremiyah Love will be available at the 4 spot for the Titans. I know Chev is going to be very happy about that. You produce some great running backs, maybe not some great teams. As we continue down now, though, it gets real interesting in Daniel Jeremiah's mock here. Cleveland Browns, pick 6, Carnell Tate. He stays in Ohio. And I think a lot of people are anti-Browns. There's a couple players I would like the Browns to get. Chris Bell in round 2 with his drags and crossers with Harold Fannin Jr. would be a dream spot for me. But Carnell Tate, Lemon, Tyson, they don't really come up when it comes to the Browns. And it's a huge reality that this could happen for them and any of these top 3 wide receivers. So Bradley, Carnell Tate, do you like it, love it, or just kind of want to skip?
I think this is a must draft selection for the Cleveland Browns. You look at who they have in the receiving game, and it's Jerry Jeudy, it's Cedric Tillman, and that's it. And if you're like, well, Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, that doesn't instill a lot of confidence. That's why they need to make this type of selection, because investing 6th overall draft capital, you're getting a difference maker at the wide receiver position. And David Njoku visiting the Ravens, like, you're losing some target share there. But even in my projections, my way too early projections, there's still about 78 unprojected receptions in this for this Cleveland Browns team. So that is plenty of space for a Carnell Tate type of player to immediately splash in year 1. So yeah, I love this. There's room for it. It makes sense. It's very logical, and they need wide receiver help, and this is the pick to do it.
Hey, we'll see if it's Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders. And then, of course, tanking for Arch. A year of delayed, not denied for Carnell Tate if it were to be somebody like Arch Manning. But I'm doing some C2C, Devy drafts, whatever you want to call them. There's a lot of quarterbacks who will be coming in to the 2027 class. I know there's always somebody who comes out of nowhere, people who disappoint, and quarterbacks who thrive. But it seems deep right now at the moment. So there's some steam for Cleveland here with the Browns and Carnell Tate. We'll see what happens on the quarterback front. But in 2026, I'm with you, Bradley. I like this move for Carnell Tate and the Cleveland Browns. I know some people can think it could be a little bit of a purgatory, but I think I'd be in on it. And especially at 6 overall, I think they do everything they can to make things right. And then scrolling down, you see through pick 12, no other skill position players there. But then there is Makai Lemon, Rams, pick 13 overall. They have 2 first-round picks in the first round. And there's been a lot of steam about Makai Lemon and receivers in general to the Rams. Daniel Jeremiah seems to be keen on Makai Lemon to the Rams. I've seen this in another mock of his. You've got the A.J. Brown rumors. You had Adam Schefter shoot down Devontae Adams rumors of being out. But something tells me Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, there's another receiver who's going to be out there, something to put the Rams over the top. It may be a luxury pick, but at the same time, if you have the draft capital and you have the expenditure, why not go for it? What do you make of Makai Lemon in the slot or split freedom between he and Puka Nacua causing damage with Devontae Adams over the top in the red zone?
Yeah, it feels like there's just not a lot of space for an immediate impact play if the Rams were to take Makai Lemon. You have Nacua 30% target share, and you have Devontae Adams at 26% target share. You're already at almost 60% with just those 2 guys. Now, if you're saying, well, give Makai Lemon an extra year, he'll come on in the second half, a luxury pick, as you mentioned before, and that's all possible. I mean, who wouldn't want the number 13 overall pick to be your number 3 wide receiver. Talk about dangerous. And the Rams see this probably as the window where they can't afford to lose Nakua or Devontae Adams production once they get down the stretch. And both guys injury prone, or Devontae Adams on the wrong side of the age apex. So you have a situation where this might be both the long-term and short-term smart investment. And we know the Rams are a very smart team. They moved on from Cooper Kupp when they were supposed to, and there's been a lot of rumblings about them moving on from Devontae Adams this offseason. That may also follow that pathway, and that's why they're interested in AJ Brown. So Makai Lemon, this could be a very, very interesting pick here, Coach. And one other note, this is the pick that Atlanta had last year. Like that the Rams traded out of the first round and received this pick as a gift from the Atlanta Falcons. So, man, what if this is the missing piece for the Super Bowl run? How bad would Atlanta feel about that?
Oh, it's tough because Atlanta, they really are in need of a second wide receiver. In another mock exercise, I saw Jacoby Lane going there, and that would be fruitful, profitable, just good for real life utility NFL. They really need an 800 to 900 yard receiver who can get bulk touchdowns. Darnell Mooney was supposed to be that these last couple of years. He faded after his initial season. And then, like you say, the rich get richer, and the Falcons really in a tough spot. You might like this too, Bradley. In another mock, that same mock that I referenced, Malachi Fields round 2 to the Rams. So there's anything where we have a receiver going to the Rams, it's instant boost to their stock. It's validation to their prospect profile. So coming off of a combine loss, somebody like Malachi Fields would be phenomenal. But in this instance, you have a double whammy of Makai Lemon, the stud prospect, and then a stud team in the Rams validating the pick and the talent in Lemon. Funny enough, maybe those interviews were butchered to game the fact that he wants to low-key stay home. Maybe a better version of Kenny Pickett to the Steelers staying in Pittsburgh, but we actually have a baller, an absolute hooper in Makai Lemon. Now, you don't have to go too much further. Baltimore Ravens, the very next pick, back-to-back receivers in this mock, Jordyn Tyson, there with Declan Doyle. You got a lot of hope with Jordyn Tyson across from Zay Flowers. I've been high on Zay Flowers, but this would be tough because now this really tests our theory of what's going to be the new look Ravens offense with Declan Doyle, with Lamar just slinging the ball around a lot more. Less so Derrick Henry. Maybe you wait till December to activate him. And the first 3 months of the season, we get some goodness between high volume between Tyson and Flowers. Bradley, do you think the Ravens with the new look with Declan Doyle, Lamar Jackson, can they feature somebody like Jordyn Tyson and Flowers? Is the volume enough there?
The volume is absolutely there. Absolutely. Isaiah Likely gone. DeAndre Hopkins gone. And as you're like, oh, those aren't big pieces. Each of them are like 10 to 15% target share guys. And then Rashad Bateman, the Ravens really want to move off of him. He's not shown out and was just disaster zone. Now, there's plenty of space. So I've done the projections, I've run the numbers, and there are 94 unprojected receptions for the Ravens right now. Holy buckets. And maybe part of that could be filled with David Njoku if he decides to sign there. He's visiting right now. But even if Njoku signs, Jordyn Tyson, very interesting. I think the Ravens should be aggressive with the wide receiver pick. And Tyson, they want dynamism. They want winning down the field. They want speed. They want separation. Like Jordyn Tyson does the circus catches. He is the athlete. Sometimes he gets hurt, but that's why you have Zay Flowers too. And so, yes, I think this is a smash pick. I love this selection and is a great fit for the Baltimore Ravens.
Hey, there you have it. Jordyn Tyson going to the Ravens. Now, speaking of all rookies, let's hear from the Podfather regarding the rookie guide.
In Dynasty Leagues, you must get your rookie draft right. You cannot get it wrong. That's why we have the Player Profiler Rookie Guide in partnership with Campus to Canton. They follow these guys from their freshman year through to the NFL. We're breaking these players down, everything you need to know about them and everything you need to know about the picks in your rookie draft. Oh, I have the 102. What do I do? I have the 108. What do I do? It's a complete player and advanced strategy guide. It's just $25 on playerprofiler.com. You get it. You have the peace of mind that I'm going to make the right decisions to build a super team.
Ooh, that rookie guy, Player Profiler. A lot of great work from the Player Profiler team. Bradley, you have a huge footprint on that. So thank you for all your hard work. And by all means, everybody, go out and get that rookie guide. It's got everything that you need to dominate your leagues, dominate your dynasty rookie drafts. And hey, give us a like, subscribe on this channel. And on the podcast feed side, 5-star reviews, they go a long way. They help feed families. So we'd really appreciate it as you're listening that you just give us some of that love there. And make sure, hey, tell your friends, maybe the league where you don't want to give away the competitive advantage, you're okay with that. But by all means, hit us up. Now, speaking of competitive advantage, do the Jets, Bradley, gain one? We have Omar Cooper at pick 16. We've been talking about it be a death knell for Tate, Lemon, Tyson for the Jets. You know, the Jets are the team to avoid, like a purgatory, right? But you got Omar Cooper, pick 16. 17 teams visited Omar Cooper at the NFL Combine. And now you have Omar Cooper getting right at the middle of round 1. He has had a precipitous climb up, and I love him. I have him just behind the big 3, Casey Concepcion, and then I've got Omar Cooper there. If you want to flip-flop Cooper and Casey Concepcion, I'm all for it. I love Omar Cooper's game, love how he blocks. He's going to find a way to stay on the field, and if the Jets don't take him, I'm convinced and firm that there's 16 other teams who visited who will want to take Omar Cooper, and there's probably a rising number. Geno Smith, let's say it's Ty Simpson as the quarterback. Geno Smith, Omar Cooper, rookie season. How do you see it playing out with maybe somebody like Ty Simpson? And how do you see it playing out with Geno Smith?
Yeah, I think they're just from an overall like organizational franchise projection side, the Jets have space to invest pretty heavily in a wide receiver like Omar Cooper. So I think them being aggressive with this pick, this feels high for Cooper just overall based on it was only what 3 weeks ago that we were talking about Omar Cooper as like, oh, he's like 45th overall. He Elijah Surratt and him are diverging. Like this is the start of it. We're talking, well, he's going to get back into first round draft capital, maybe top 20. But now we see a mock draft where he cracks the 16. You know, like talk about a massive, massive climb in a short amount of time. Tells you the amount of confidence that that the scouts and the front office have been sharing about across the NFL about Omar Cooper. Specifically, I think that Geno Smith had one of the worst runouts in terms of offensive opportunities last year with the Las Vegas Raiders. You know, you have Chip Kelly, who didn't even know what plays he was calling. Pete Carroll was off from an entire year bathing in the sun. You had a situation too where Brock Bowers was hurt for a bit, right? And the offensive line was absolutely disastrous. So it was a perfect storm of nightmare for Geno Smith. The only upside for Geno is that he's getting paid a poop ton of money, right? That is the way. If you're going to perform poorly, at least make a ton of money doing it. So him to go to New York, fresh start. The concern I have is that there's not much of an investment by the Jets for Geno Smith. So you have concerns about when, like if you're drafting in the best ball streets, for instance, when you're going to take Geno Smith, well, you don't have a lot of confidence that he's going to last the whole season. So are you going to give it to Ty Simpson, for instance? Like Ty Simpson, you mentioned earlier, he's going to be a rookie. He's getting projected, back end of first round, beginning of second round draft capital. Yep. Right. So that's kind of the range that we're expecting. And the types of players who quarterbacks only hit about 10% of the time if they're not in the first round. So you need Ty Simpson to get first round draft capital. And then the question is, well, how many games? And if we follow the Jackson Dart pathway, right? Jackson Dart starts after 4 games, 5 games, something like that. Like there's still a non-negligible amount of the season that it would be Geno Smith if Ty Simpson followed the Jackson Dart pathway, which the reason why all that is happening is because the Jets are losing. And if the Jets are losing, it's bad all around. There's just bad vibes. It wouldn't surprise me if Aaron Glenn is fired before week 9 in 2026. You can clip this, coach. This is my prediction. So Aaron Glenn doesn't make it through year 2 in New York, and they look for a new coach. They're essentially in Browns territory for just like purgatory of disaster zone, because yeah, they have lots of these picks, but is an Omar Cooper going to be set up for success, whether he has a Ty Simpson who has nothing to lose and is just trying to audition for 2027, or a Geno Smith who there's no investment by the organization anyways. So it's a lose-lose situation, unfortunately, I think, if Omar Cooper lands in New York.
And in his own right, Garrett Wilson is a 100 reception quality type of receiver. So where do you find the volume? And hopefully you would get it in the blessing of some junk volume. But then again, let's just say it's patchwork.
My projections have Garrett Wilson at 101 receptions.
Beautiful. Look at that. Look at us. Look at us.
Coach.
Yeah.
It's almost
you
like
love
coach
to
is
see it.
cheating my spreadsheets here.
Yep. Just like this. Like Jordan. Hey, eyes closed. So let's continue down. Casey Concepcion. This is kind of like Purgatory and Family Guy, where it's like, this isn't so good. It's not so bad. It's not so good. And you're just kind of floating around. Casey Concepcion from Charlotte. So he comes from NC State. He's North Carolina. And it's home, right? Stays home with the Panthers. You get somebody else paired with Bryce Young. I'm not so sure I love him with Jalen Coker and Tetairoa McMillan. I think it's more so, and I still love the talent of Casey, but I think it's just an issue of projected volume. Where I want to see things go, 70 receptions, I believe it's 122 targets that Tetairoa McMillan had last year. If we can get that up to 140 targets, I think we can get to the path kind of like a Garrett Wilson, where there's 100 receptions in that offense for Tetairoa McMillan. So rookie season, Casey Concepcion, I think he would be a big boost and a boon for the entire offense. But at this point, I don't know truck trailer how much of a truck Bryce Young can be to propel multiple fantasy assets in an offense. It's still something I'd like to see happen. I'd still like it for Bryce Young to see if he can develop and take that next step. But this is a far cry from Makai Lemon added to Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, where all three of them, hey, whatever price point you're buying, not so much with the Carolina Panthers. So it's a little bit of a pump the brakes. In another exercise on another show, Chiefs. Concepcion got the Chiefs, and I put him all the way up to the 104. Rapid reaction. But I prefaced it, it'd be bearish. This would be more of a bearish spot, and this would cool some of Casey Concepcion. So I would have to respectfully be malleable, and I like to be objective. And with something like that, I would have to lower him some, as much as I love the talent for Casey Concepcion. Bradley, Panthers, is this a lukewarm? Do you see it as a purgatory-like level, or is it somewhat good, bad? Are you neutral? Where are you at?
I think this is a nonsensical pick by the Panthers, or at least, like, I know Daniel Jeremiah probably has his reasons to connect Concepcion to go to Carolina, but the numbers don't indicate it. Like, I have the projections for the Carolina Panthers at negative 63 projected receptions, which means that not only would they have to move a guy, they probably have to move multiple guys to get Casey Concepcion here. Now, maybe you have to massage a little bit, but I'm looking at who is on this team, and outside of Tet McMillan, who I do have at a 25% target share, like I think it's a pretty solid 25. Everyone else is pretty flat. Like, you think about Chuba Hubbard's going to get some targets, Jalen Coker, Xavier Legette. People are like, well, Big X he's still going to get something. Same thing with John Mechie, so who was just brought in. And they involve the tight ends and rotate through the tight ends. So I think my issue here is that there's such a flatness to the rest of these pass catchers behind Tet McMillan. And even adding a Casey Concepcion, is that going to be moving the needle? I think the answer is no. And I also share the skepticism that Bryce Young is going to be able to drive that train, which is why I'm mostly out on Tet McMillan for 2026 too.
See, for me, I'm in on Tedero McMillan, but I kind of see the limitations to the offense where it's like, hey, it's not much more than one. But I'm in alignment with you where I think it would be bearish for somebody like Casey Concepcion because it's one of those more people than chairs available. Now, speaking of chairs and people available, San Francisco 49ers seem to be an expansive offense that can take on a lot more players who can thrive. You know, the whole too many mouths to feed does not apply. The cliche alert there to somebody like the 49ers and, in this instance, Kenyon Sadiq. It sounds like the George Kittle succession plan and a little bit of a fall. There's a fall for Kenyon Sadiq. The detriment to the rest of the league is these better teams who are tight end needy, or you could make a case for the 49ers to be preeminently tight end needy or preemptive. Kenyon Sadiq goes to Kyle Shanahan. Like the whole league just messed up at least those first 26 picks to allow Sadiq to drop. What do you make of this, Bradley?
Yeah, there's still not room in year one for Sadiq. This is what like I had been preaching for a while is I think Sadiq will be a very interesting dynasty pick. I'm not as in on Sadiq in year one. And if especially he lands on San Francisco, like Jake Tongs is gonna get the starts to start the season. And you may see Sadiq ramp up throughout, the second half of the season, but that's when Kittle is expected to be back. So it's more so a long-term play. McCaffrey is probably on his last legs. Mike Evans is on his last legs. Like there's reasons for the 49ers to invest long-term in athletic players like Sadiq. And that makes sense because there's so many aged pieces. Like Christian Kirk just signed with the 49ers and he's on the wrong side of the age apex. Like there's this team is very old from a pass catching perspective. So they need a succession plan, and Sadiq is that answer.
Yeah, I like it. And I'm a fan, though, of Sadiq going there. In another exercise, I saw Sadiq to Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that would skyrocket his value. I think people would get a little bit drunk on this as well and skyrocket Kenyon Sadiq up because they don't want to miss out. There's going to be FOMO on Kenyon Sadiq. So what's going to happen for somebody like you, Bradley, is you're going to get the benefit. This landing spot, you would push up Kenyon Sadiq, and then you would take whoever falls behind. Maybe it's a Makai Lemon in a bearish spot. Maybe it's a Jordyn Tyson in a bearish spot. One of those prospects who doesn't quite get the perfect landing spot, and then you get to take advantage. Maybe it's Omar Cooper going to the Jets, and you would be able to be on the receiving end there. As we scroll down, trying to see, I think the last pick, Bradley, I wonder what you'll think about this. Daniel Jeremiah, since pre-NFL Combine, has been talking about round one, Jadarian Price. So this is not the first time that we've seen this. In the Combine, it was all about the 40 and the size, the weight. Too light, not fast enough for Jadarian Price. Wanted better in the 4.4s. And now we got great field drills at the NFL Combine. And now we're getting Daniel Jeremiah. I got to think something's in his ear, something has stuck to where Daniel Jeremiah has gone with Jadarian Price now in this mock where there's legitimate steam. Maybe it ends up being early round 2, but there's something out there that puts the only other running back besides Jeremiyah Love in round 1 that we're seeing really any steam for. We've seen a little bit for Mike Washington, but you have Jadarian Price here going to the Seattle Seahawks. For me, my opinion, Emmett Johnson, Jonah Coleman, Jadarian Price, Mike Washington. Any of those four get the landing spot of something like a Seattle Seahawks, they're going to push up in rookie drafts or fall down. Somebody else, Katron Allen, if he were to go to some place like the Lions, you get more of that David Montgomery bullishness in all the scouting reports, and people who really are Katron Allen truthers would see the benefit there, and we'd see a rise in price. But Jadarian Price to the Seahawks, Bradley, bullish, bearish on that. What does it say about Zach Charbonnet? What do you like about Jadarian Price? Are you going round 1 rookie draft with him? Where would you draft him?
Oh, if he gets first round draft capital, which real talk, I don't think he does, but it's very, very, very interesting that there's a lot of smoke here. the drumbeat has continued for Jadarian Price to get first-round draft capital. If he gets the landing spot of Seattle, who I have projected with 199 unprojected rushing attempts. So they have a ton of space for a player like Jadarian Price between the tackles guy, which fits the Kenneth Walker mold, right? They wanted a between the 20s guy. That's what Walker did last year in the McDonald offense, right? This is Kenneth Walker 2.0. And Walker got round 2 draft capital. Don't you forget. And his question coming out of college was, well, yeah, he can run between the tackles, but can he catch? And it didn't matter. It just didn't matter. And if you watched any of the Jadarian Price tape, if you watched his special teams tape, especially, his vision is very strong. He is a good runner. And so you have a player who would get a massive landing spot. This would solidify Jadarian Price as clearly the RB2 of the class, but also get him into, okay, you have at the top, you have Jeremiyah Love. That's super flex. So you'll have Mendoza, I think, ahead of Price. And then you'll have Makai Lemon, and then Carnell Tate. Like, so you could see Jadarian Price in conversation for 105 in super flex.
Yeah, that high. Well, I think it's night and day what happens with somebody like Jadarian Price or any of the core of running backs who live in that 2 through 6 range if they were to get the Seattle Seahawks. So it's kind of like a lottery ticket. It's a lot like receivers who get the Chiefs landing spot. There's certain places where, man, if you land, you're going to run pure and the market's just going to react. And you don't want to swim against the stream if something like this were to happen. What just gets me the most, because I really don't believe it, that it would be round 1 Jadarian Price. But I think there's weight and steam to what's happening with Daniel Jeremiah, not pushing up Jadarian Price, but talking about him in this vein. So whether it be late round 1 or early round 2, that is damn good draft capital, early round 2 as well. So anywhere in that range, top 40, top 50 picks, it would be bullish signal. Of course, we'd have to watch the landing spot. But in this exercise, it would shoot right up. I'm not sure I'd go there to 105, but I think you at least get 108 in that range, because I think you get the top 4 or 5 receivers, Sadiq, Mendoza, and of course Love. So I think that's where you start to hit about 108 and you fire off that next running back, and it could very well be Jadarian Price. But then again, as the draft hits and the rookie drafts heat up, people don't want to miss their guy. They want to get their guy. So there you have it, folks. Jadarian Price, round 1 pick. What do you think about it? Let us know in the comments. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. We love you. And get this rookie guide from Player Profiler. We will see you next week.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.